I want to talk about the manual of how to ask a girl out in 2024. Okay? So men, I'm saying men and not boys because hopefully by the end of this episode, you will change from a boy to a man. I want to tell you what is going through a girl's mind when you're asking her out on a date, okay? She is thinking about 3 things. Are you ready? You're listening to the X Podcast. The X you keep coming back to. This episode is sponsored by 760 Media, located on DeCarry Street. Guys, if you are listeners of my podcast, you know that I literally fully converted to 760 Media because they have so many different podcast rooms to film. If you were ever planning on starting a podcast, this is the place to go. They do cuts, trailers for you, everything. So you don't need to be an expert. You just let the experts do the work for you. So I have a discount code for you guys, and it's X the podcast at checkout for 15% off. Enjoy. Hey guys, welcome back to the X Podcast. I'm your host every single Monday, Alessia on Instagram, known as Alediandra. If you don't have time to watch the full episode, I do post 8-minute videos on Snapchat, so be sure to be following me there. Guys, do all the follows, okay? I'm out here airing out my entire life, getting myself in so much trouble, having a hard time dating. The least you can do is just click that follow, subscribe button. I mean, look, come on. I decided to wear some heels today. Okay, go off, queen. I'm just curious, at what age is appropriate for a girl to wear heels on the daily? Because I remember being young and thinking, I can't wait till I'm old enough where it's not like, why is she wearing heels? You know, like, I'm a woman now, right? I'm 28. I can wear heels on the daily. I'm going to the Hamptons this upcoming Tuesday, okay? And I'm filming this right now on Sunday, but I'm filming 2 episodes, so I'm not sure yet which one I'm releasing first. So you might be watching this and I might be on my way to the Hamptons, or I might be on my way back and this episode is airing. So it could go 2 ways. We haven't decided yet which one we're airing first. The next episode or the one before this one is going to be with Tanya, and it's always a classic, right? Tanya's always a good guest, and she always gives me some viral content that we need. So she's going to come back on the podcast, or she's already come back on the podcast. But yeah, I've never been to the Hamptons, and I don't know what to expect, but I'm super, super excited. I'm going with one girlfriend, potentially 2, and we're winging it. We're taking our cars there because the Hamptons is about 3 hours, 2 hours from New York. So I didn't want to take a flight, then not have a car, rent a car. Like, I kind of just wanted to like go with my car. Also, I got a new car, so I was just like, I'm down to drive it down, even though it's going to be a lot of kilometers. I was like, yeah, like, let's drive down. Let's go with the flow. Let's go to New York a bit before. I'm going to try and interview some guests and then go back after the Hamptons and maybe interview a few more guests. Kind of like my girlfriend and I who are going together. Well, she's jobless. So she's like, I have no reason to go back. And I was like, okay, say less. Like, let's go stay some time in New York. So yeah, so that's kind of the vibes. I got invited to the Hamptons from some friends of ours that we've actually never met. So my girlfriend and I are going to be sharing a room, which is always like, give us our room. We're going to be like together, you know? Yeah, so that should be interesting. I actually met the guy on Instagram, and we're always talking, and he's from New York, and I was like, hey, like, any chance you're going to the Hamptons on July 4th? And anything, one thing led to another. I was like, oh, I think we're going to come. I was looking at hotels. Fucking expensive for July 4th. We're talking like motel style, like more than $2,000 a night. I was like, okay, I have limits even as to what I'm going to spend. And I was like, hey, by any chance, if you have an extra, because that's the fun thing about the Hamptons is being in a sick crib and like you're a bunch of people and like you wake up and you're like getting drunk all together. Like to be in a motel is not even like the experience you want. I don't know why it's like called motels there. Like they're hotels, I guess. Like they're nice hotels. It's just they're called motels. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, so we wanted to be in like a big house, you know, like summer house vibes. We wanted that, okay? And nothing says that more than like being around people, and also like not having to create your own plans and just following a group, like nothing better. So we were just like, hey, perfect. You guys are probably like, Alessia, be careful. Like, anyway, I'm a good judge of character. They seem like very nice people. Oh my God. I think that's what everyone who gets... I think that sounds like how every internet stalker starts, or every bad situation in life happens, is like, oh, I can tell from his pictures he's a nice person. What's that movie I just watched, Baby Reindeer? What's that show I just watched, Baby Reindeer, where like the girl became obsessed with him? Anyway, we hope that doesn't happen. We hope there's no Dexter involved. They seem like really cool New York people, so we're tagging along. My girlfriend and I are getting our own room, and we're going to the Hamptons, baby. Our Sex in the City era. And anyway, I'm just so excited. I've literally never been, and there's like, it's just fun because I don't like planning anything, and like this is all going to be kind of taken care of, which is going to be so fun. And I have no return date. Like, we're really just going with the flow, and these are the best kind of trips, especially for me, because I am not a planner. Speaking of not being a good planner, I want to talk about the manual of how to ask a girl out in 2024. Okay? So men, I'm saying men and not boys, because hopefully by the end of this episode, you will change from a boy to a man. And if you're already a man, then you're, okay, I chipped a nail, and that's just so embarrassing that I want to talk about boys versus men, but I look like a girl instead of a woman. No. I broke this today and they're closed. Like, sorry, my nails can be upkept all the time. I'll go on Monday. Fuck. I don't like when people judge me, even though I'm judging myself. Firstly, I want to tell you what is going through a girl's mind when you're asking her out on a date, okay? She is thinking about 3 things. Are you ready? Actually, maybe 4, but mostly 3. She is thinking, okay, before this date that you're going to ask her on, she is thinking, okay, is it worth going out with this guy versus staying in, okay? Then she's thinking, what the fuck am I going to wear on this date? Then she's thinking, how am I going to do my hair? So she's just thinking about her outfit, her hair, her makeup, and if she can fit you in her schedule, and if she wants to fit you in her schedule, and if she's not embarrassed to be seen out with you. Because then at that point, she's like contemplating, like, maybe I shouldn't go out on a date with him. Like, those are the things we think about, okay? I'm really not making it sound good. She doesn't give a shit about anything else. Don't ask her to call her own Uber. Don't ask her to meet you at the restaurant. Don't ask her anything. Do. Okay? That is the true definition of a boy and a man. A boy would say, hey, like, let's go out for dinner. Let me know if you have any recommendations, or like, is there anything in specific you want to go eat, or is there a restaurant in mind you want to go to? Already as a girl, like, we're like, literally figure it out, you fucking loser, and stop messaging me. Okay? Figure it out. That's the difference between a boy and a man. A man has the reservation done. A boy is asking for your opinion because he's too insecure. Enough. And even if you're just like worried about whether or not she likes that certain food, even that question, when a guy says like, oh, like what type of food do you like, shut up. Just book a spot. Look, there's a chance the girl you're going on a date with doesn't like sushi, doesn't like Japanese food, which I find that hard to believe, best food. But instead of just, you know, asking her what does she like to eat, just choose a restaurant that you know serves a couple of things. Go for Mediterranean food where she can have fish if she wants fish. She can have pasta if she wants. Like, choose a spot that's just going to be good for the people, okay? Like, just maybe for a first date, don't go so niche unless you know that's something she likes. But, like, that's the difference, okay? So when you invite her out on a date, you don't even have to really tell her the restaurant you're going to. You can just, even girls, like, we like the mystery of just knowing, like, we're like princesses. Like, we're getting in the car. We don't really know where we're going. Okay, this is sounding very like sketch, and like people are going to want to know where they're going. But like, the 3 things a guy should always do is pick the reservation, tell her the time, then say, hey, I'm sending you a car at blank this time. Now, I know a lot of guys will say, hey, do you need me to send a car? And that makes total sense because like on a first date, sometimes some people don't like to give away their address. You know, it makes sense. You know, you're worried about your safety, especially if you don't know anything about this guy. I get why you wouldn't want to take a car that is sent from the guy you're going on a date with. So some girls, they still want the, I'm sending you a car at this time. But I understand why sometimes a guy won't be assertive in that sense and he'll say, do you want me to send you a car? That's totally fine. But after the first date, if you guys hit it off, then like, yeah, he shouldn't be saying, do you need? It should be, I'm sending. I think women on the daily overthink so many things that when it comes to going on a date, we just want it to be as seamless and easy as possible, especially because the only thing we're really worried about is our hair, makeup, and outfit. So you got to make it seamless for us. So car sent to us. So send an Uber Black, send a regular Uber, whatever the fuck, and then be at the restaurant before her. Order her drink. Ask her what drink does she like. Now, I was actually talking about this with one of my girlfriends, and my girlfriend was like, oh my God, I do not want him to be there earlier and order me a drink before I get there. I'm like, oh, why? She's like, well, what if he puts something in my drink? I won't feel comfortable. I prefer I order the drink when I'm there and I see the drink being given to me. And I was like, oh, that's so true. I never even thought about that. I'm here worried about being kidnapped, but all of a sudden someone roofing my drink. I'm like, let's fucking go. So that obviously depends like the person. And like, I don't know, I've always put a lot of trust in people in that aspect. And maybe that's my problem, but I just like the assertiveness of like, what would you like? So when you get there, your drink is already there. I also think a lot of girls love to do drinks before dinner. I think the drinks before dinner really like sets the tone and removes that barrier of like awkwardness that may be there. Or by the time you get to dinner, when you have drinks, you're a little bit more loose and you're a little bit more like fun. Personally, I love a good drink right before dinner, but look, you don't have to. I'm just saying that girls love a good drink before dinner. So like boom and boom, try and choose a spot that has like a lounge. And then from there, you can just walk over to dinner, or I don't know, like you're in New York or you're anywhere where you can just hop around, like wherever. Like it's just fun to know that the guy sent the car, that he has the plan, that he has already been there. He's waiting with your drink. And by the time dinner comes, a woman is so relaxed because she knows you got it. So when she knows you got it, she's at her best state ever. She's so happy. She's thriving. You might be a 6, but you're a fucking 10 in her eyes, okay? That's literally how it works for a guy. So keep that in mind. And like these little things you do that make you a gentleman don't cost $1 million. Like sending someone an Uber is not going to make or break the bank account, but it will leave a lasting impression on a girl. Okay. So men, because now you guys are men, you turn from boys to men. This is how you ask someone out. I'm going to read a text that one of my girlfriends went on a date, and it was done so seamlessly and effortlessly. And I just think this is a beautiful and smooth transition into getting the girl of your dreams. Also, I think it's really cute when a guy says, looking forward to seeing you. I think that's a nice hint to break the conversation and kind of start, you know, just reminding, because you probably discussed dinner days before, but the day of, just reassuring someone at a beautiful time, which is around 2-3 o'clock if you're doing dinner at 8-9, just so that the girl knows it's still on. Because sometimes a girl will kind of be like, wait, we spoke about it, but like, is it still happening? Like, don't start waiting till 8 o'clock to be like, hey, sending a car. Like, write to her in the morning and just confirm that you will be seeing her later. And a good way to do that is saying, looking forward to seeing you tonight. Just to, you know, remind the girl, okay, I'm not doing my makeup and hair here and I'm waiting. Is this still happening? Like, assure us.
The ex you keep coming back to.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the perfect product for you and your mans. This is something that if your mans doesn't know about, you need to buy for him. And if he does know about it, then why the hell is he not taking it? Introducing Joy Mode. Joy Mode is a sexual performance booster. And what that is basically a natural over-the-counter pill to get your willy up. No more need for the over-the-counter pill. And I know what you might be thinking. Oh, I don't have a problem getting my willy up. I don't take the over-the-counter pill. Right. I hear you. You might not be old and hairy, but Does it help with erection and does it help with blood flow? Absolutely. How about a natural product that is going to help your blood flow naturally? We can always use more blood flowing through our body. I'm sorry. As a woman, if you're watching this, then this is also good for you. And men, you want to make sure that you perform in the bedroom. So, I mean, why wouldn't you take this? And I have a discount code for you because I'm just full of discount codes all the time. So use my discount code XThePodcast at checkout for 20% off your entire order for you women and men. If women, you're watching this, then get this for both of you.
The ex you keep coming back to.
Reservation is at 9:15 at blank. They put the restaurant, which is normal. Let's have a drink before at the bar. We can meet at 8. Do you need to send a car? Do I need to send you a car to get you? And this person for sure wanted to send a car and be a gentleman, but because it's a first date, sometimes people don't feel comfortable, right? Maybe they don't want you to know their address. So in every aspect of like being a gentleman and taking care of the whole night, we want assertiveness. But on a first date, it makes sense why someone asks versus like, instead of like tells you, you know? But I still like tell me baby, the car, what time it's gonna be there. Hot. It's just like, it's the little things, okay? Also, I think it's really hot when a guy is very like relaxed. Like, don't rush, take your time. Like, let me know when you want me to send it. Someone who's like, okay, can I send it? Or like, it's here. Like, we want a very chill, relaxed man with a plan, okay? But we don't want someone who's so like like, where are you? Like, relax. Don't worry. Take your time. Like, we want to feel so like stress-free. So those little like things really, really help. I've posted clips in the past where I'm talking about how on a first date, I believe a man should always pay. And it always kind of makes me feel so weird when I know like men who are broke are going to come in comments and be like, why do men have to pay? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't care. Don't worry. We're not talking to you pussy ass boys. We're talking to real men who men already know that that's like unobvious and they want to pay. So I'm not talking about them, but it always makes me feel so weird when like a girl will like come at me or say like, no, I don't need a guy to pay my meal. I can split 50-50. I can't imagine what like men go through and how many bad dates they have to go on. Like, men don't want to feel used. Like, I want to pay the bill. I want to pay half the bill. And it just like always freaks me out when like girls come off so aggressive and they're like, no, like I don't expect a guy to pay for my dinner. I'm always like weirded out. I'm like, oh my God. I don't think there's a world where a woman wouldn't want that. Maybe she hasn't been shown that. Maybe it's just her reflex of like always feeling like she needed to do it for herself. So it's just like a more masculine like defense mechanism. But I think truthfully, there's no girl who wouldn't appreciate and want and love to be taken care of. I think it's just in woman nature to like want those things. So when I see a woman come at me and like take men's side, I'm like, first of all, you're not a girl's girl. Like, what the fuck? But also, like, it always freaks me out because I'm like, why wouldn't you want that, though? Is it because you haven't been shown that? Or, like, you're jealous or envious because those are not the type of men you've been attracting? Like, don't come at me because, like, if you're okay with splitting the bill and all that stuff, like, please don't come in my comments. Like, please. I'm just trying to be, like, I'm for the girls. I don't know why you're coming at me saying, you know, men don't need to do that. It's like, okay, so then carry on and keep being bitter and keep doing what you're doing because clearly it's not working. Look, as a guy, if you're choosing to go on a date, it's because you have the funds to take a girl out to dinner. If you can't afford a dinner, then you should not be out. If you have to split a dinner, then you should go home and get to work, okay? Because you should not be taking out a girl if you can't afford it. Go to work. Go to fucking work. No, you should not be going for a walk instead because it's cheaper. Not on a first date. Come on. Come a man that a girl would want to be with and then go for a date. Go on a date when you have the funds. Don't complain that things are expensive and don't complain that a girl doesn't want to split the fucking meal. Like, she's going to have to think, okay, can I get pregnant with this man and will I feel safe? Okay? That's what the dinner is signifying. Like, will you take care of her? And it's the littlest things. So pay the fucking dinner, okay? You will get compensated in the long run. I'm done with these bill talks, okay? Pay the fucking dinner. Okay, moving on. I have a few life updates, so I'll talk about a little bit about everything. But if you guys remember the guy that I was talking to, who I had met in Tulum, and then when I went to Miami, he came to see me. If you're an OG listener and you've been a listener of the podcast, you know what I'm talking about. If not, let me give you a quick Spark Notes version. Okay, so basically I met a guy on Raya, then we met in Tulum, hit it off. Then I went to Florida. He came to Florida to see me. We ended up seeing each other. We ended up hooking up. I was really into this guy. And after we hooked up, the next day, like a part of me in my stomach was like, I don't know. Like, I don't feel like good about this because I felt like this guy was a little bit of like a fuck boy and like he was maybe telling me what I wanted to hear, but I didn't fully believe it. And there was also like things about him that I was like, I don't know. Like, and I'm not somebody who likes to hook up with like people without like knowing for sure this could maybe go somewhere. So I found myself in a situation after we hooked up where I was like, oh, like, I don't feel good about this. Like, I kind of feel like, is he going to message me? Like, are we going to continue this on now that we're both in Florida? Or like, because now like we hooked up and like the suspense is over and we've been talking and now like I hooked up with him. It's always like a fear with a girl, right? You hook up with a guy and then after you're like, wait, is he going to ghost me? Anyway, whatever. Bottom line is, after we hooked up, I went back to my place in Florida and yeah, we were talking a little bit, but he was making no plans to really see me. And in my head, I'm like, oh my God, like for me, it was a big thing to sleep with this guy. And like, now I just kind of feel like he got what he wanted from me. And now he's kind of just like over it. Like that really hurts as a girl, especially when you don't sleep with anyone and you really try and like, you know, wait it out and like really see someone's kind of character and like what they're looking for. And like, I don't know, I think that's just all part of dating is like sometimes these things are going to happen. Anyway, whatever. So I ended up going out like 2 days later and I went out with one of my guy best friends, like nothing sexual there. I know you guys are listening to this like, okay, she's delusional. No guy is friends with a girl. Every guy that's friends with a girl would sleep with the girl. Okay, I'm not talking on his end. I'm talking on my end, okay? I wouldn't sleep with him. We're friends, okay? So I go out with him and I bump into the guy I had just hooked up with, that we were talking, that he had come to Florida to see me, well, what I thought. And I see him on a date with a girl. And I remember the night before being like, God, just give me a sign. And then that next day, I just see him out on a date with a girl. Like my heart literally fell to my asshole. Like literally fell to my asshole. I was like, oh, it suddenly felt like I was a number. It felt like I wasn't like someone he was actually getting to know. Like he was doing this with everyone. Like it just made my mind go nuts. Okay. Like absolutely nuts. He acted like he didn't see me, and I still to this day don't know if he actually saw me. I think he saw me, but by the time I saw him with the girl, he wasn't looking, which means he either saw me before walking or God knows. So this guy lives in New York. Anyway, I gave him a piece of my mind, and I basically told him, because he started writing to me, and I was like, look, by the way, I just want to let you know that I did see you on a date with this girl, and I just want you to know that like it was very hurtful, and it just made me feel like this is what you came on this. Like, this is what you're doing. And, like, for me to see that, like, it hurt. Because I almost just sent him a voice note. I would die. I would literally die. So, basically, he had said, I said, kind of shocked we saw each other once. I wanted to bring up the conversation. And he's like, oh, I thought you were with your family, blah, blah, blah. He literally gaslit me. Kind of made it seem like it wasn't him who didn't want to see me. It was me who couldn't. I was like, what? Like, when a guy wants to, he will. He doesn't care if you're with his family. He will try and do everything he can to see you. So please, let's not make excuses for men. Anyway, so basically, I said, please don't apologize. I think we definitely had good sexual chemistry, but if I'm being honest, I think we're in different stages of life looking for different things. I hold sleeping with someone to a high standard, and to see you the next day out with another girl unintentionally doing the same thing threw me off. Obviously, we don't owe each other anything, but this doesn't align with my needs. I hope you have an amazing rest of the trip, and I'm happy we met. Kill him with kindness. He goes, oh God, I'm sorry you saw that. Honestly, I had just met her as she's blank's girlfriend who came to dinner with us. Wasn't anything premeditated, but of course I can imagine how it was so off-putting. Sad face. Just like still not even taking accountability, classic guy thing, and just being like, no, it wasn't even a girl. I was you were hooking up with her. Also, he tells me he's into brunettes and like I'm exactly his type, his skin complexion, everything, okay? And I'm kind of feeling like, oh my God, like we're both kind of like, yeah, we're each other's types. And like he's complimenting me and I'm like, wow, it's so like nice to hear that you're a guy's type and all this stuff. Then I see him out on a date with a fucking blonde chick and I'm like, bro, all down the drain. And you know what? I asked God for a sign. I got the sign. Anyways, so now like a month and a half ago, I posting on my story, we're still following each other, and he answers to my story. I don't even open the story. I'm like, literally when I'm done, this is an Aquarius thing maybe, I am done with you. Also, like, I'm looking for my husband, so get the fuck out of my way. Like, I'm not dealing with no boy. Like, you're a boy, okay? We're not looking for this. So there was a lot of things going on with this guy where like he was just getting out of a job and like, I wouldn't say he was a struggling artist, but like, I don't know. I feel like he was low key. Like, I can't have this girl. Oh my God. That's what I'm telling myself. I'm so embarrassing. By the way, this is disgusting. Allah, he slept with you and he was like, I'm on to the next. Somehow I gaslit myself into thinking that he thought he wasn't good enough for me after he had sex with me and then ghosted me. I'm fucking hilarious sometimes. Crazy what the mind does, huh? Anyway, I never opened his Insta DM where he answered my story. I actually deleted it. I want to know, for anyone listening, would you prefer somebody sees you or just never opens your message? I want to know. I'm actually asking you guys. Would you prefer somebody never opens your message so you don't know if they saw it, or if they seen you, they opened it, but they never they never answered? I'm going to give you my take on this. I prefer a guy sees me because he's at least letting me know he saw the message. Even though we know, even if he didn't open it, he saw the message. I think there's a part of it that's just like, okay, you respect me a little bit more because you at least let me know you saw the message. Where like not even opening a message is kind of like, I give no fucks about you. Like, I don't even care to open your message, which is like, that's like, I don't even care to like, that's literally the worst thing ever, okay? And so that's exactly what I did to the guy. I literally deleted the message. I was like, I'm not even letting you know I opened this, okay? You don't even deserve that. So I delete it. And then I'm basically rambling on my Instagram talking about how I'm going to New York, and he lives in New York. So he writes to me, guys, I am around if you're open to make up dinner/drinks or something. Sweet boy, sweet boy. You know when I tell you they always come back around? They always come back around. What goes around comes back around. And to know, like, as a girl, like, when you've been hurt by someone and you finally get to a stage where you're like, I'm done. And then they come back around and you're like, yes, have the upper hand. I know it sounds stupid and childish and like gamey, but like knowing that now it's like in your court and like you think that I'm going to answer you. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm so happy right now that I have the upper hand that I'm like, yes, fuck you. Okay. So this one I opened. I was just like, okay, let me open it just so he knows that I saw it, because I wanted him to know, even though he knew the last time when I didn't open it. And it was just one of those moments where I kind of wanted to like give some advice. I think a lot of times the reasons men act like boys is because we allow them to and we give them that power. Let me explain. For example, if a guy fucks you over or like does something to you, it's in your best interest to stick to what you say you're going to do. So let's say a guy does something and then we start giving him second chances, or we say like, we're done. And then he writes again and then we like entertain it again. And like we give in to the power and like, then he gets us back or he wheels us back in.
The ex you keep coming back to.
A purse is used to carry everything that you need in a day. And one thing that always comes with me before I leave the house is my Magic Mind little green shot. It's absolutely necessary. If you're on the go, it helps with procrastination. It has 12 magical ingredients that are all super healthy and natural to keep you stable the entire day. I have a hard time focusing, and this helps with that. And you can take it as a shot, just take it out of your bag as a shot. You can put it with coconut milk. You can put it with whatever you love, mix it up with some ice. It's the perfect summer drink to stay hydrated and to be healthy this summer and winter, because truthfully, we need this all year round. So you just pop it in your bag and you use my discount code XPodcast20 at checkout to receive 20% off if it's your first time buying. They have packages of 15 bottles and 30. And if you subscribe to their subscription, which you should because you should be taking this every day, then you get 48% off. So go to Magic Mind and get healthy.
The ex you keep coming back to.
They don't learn, okay? They're always testing to know when your actual foot is put down and when they don't have you anymore. So when you, as a woman, put your foot down and ghost and just fucking disappear or just not give in after you've told yourself and told that person you're done, there is nothing more beautiful and more powerful, because you're showing the guy, I have values, I have morals, and I said what I said and I'm sticking to it. And I think a lot of times girls will, this is how I feel. And then it's like they come back around, they show a little bit of attention, and then the girls fall back in the loop. And then it's like, that's why the boys don't improve and become men, because they don't have to. And then they could just do that to the next girl. But if we as women stick together and we're like, no, you disrespected me, no, I'm out, you're kind of showing a guy how he needs to treat a woman. We're kind of training a boy to a man and a man to stay a man, if that makes sense. That's the thing. When men come back, because they always do, they're always testing to know where's your limit and when you're done. So when you don't give in to that stuff, you're basically putting your foot down and you're showing him the look, he can't do this with you at least. But the more and more women kind of put their foot down, the more boys will have no choice but to become men and step up to the plate if they want to be with you. And I think that's why it's so important as a girl to not go, sleep around with everyone, because in our generation especially, it's it's hard to find a meaningful relationship, because if you're not willing to sleep with somebody right away and the next girl is, then he might just be well, fuck that. It took so long to get this girl. I know this girl will fuck me. But it's if we're all on the same page as women, it would be really hard for a guy not to have to work so hard to get you and invest in you. So I think as women, let's stick to fucking together. I don't know if it's just me. This is kind of funny to admit, but I have a one specific date outfit that I will pull up and pull up and pull up so many times, because when you're going on a date, technically you're not really taking pictures, right? So it's such an outfit that you're able to keep re-wearing. And I want to know if any other girl is like this. They have that one date outfit where they just keep re-wearing because they're perfect. This is literally labeled my date outfit. It's when you go to a funeral and you wear a dress, that dress is now the funeral dress. You're not going to go out clubbing in the dress you went to a funeral in. That's a funeral dress. And it's kind of the same thing with a date outfit. I kind of feel I'm okay, well, that's a date outfit. I'm just going to rewear that on every date I go on. So yeah, so when men say something and don't stick to it, my rule right now is you get no other chance. And I know that might be really cutthroat and an energy that not many guys want. But if you say to me you're taking me out on a date and you never follow through, I'm at a stage in my life where I don't care if I saw potential with you. If you say something and don't stick to your word, you're never going to get another chance. And I know that might be aggressive and might be a little bit much, but I think when you start being so intentional with dating and that first, he doesn't follow through. Okay, look, there's obviously exceptions to the rules. And as a girl, you're watching this, you're going to find every reason to make why your guy's exception makes sense. But if he promised you he's going to take you out and then never followed through, even the next time around, if he says, hey, sorry, been busy, want to take you out, you shouldn't go. If he didn't write to you, saying sorry, something came up, if he gives you, he communicates, that's fine. But when a guy doesn't take you serious from the start and like kind of like use you as like another option, or like they say they're going to take you out and they like say, okay, next week, and then they never message you, then like they never deserve a chance with you. Like when someone says something, if they don't follow through with it, like they don't deserve another chance. I'm sorry, at the beginning, like we have to look at those things. And I'm at a stage right now where it's like, if a guy says he's going to take me out to dinner and he says next week and then doesn't write to me, like there will be no date ever, because I'm not open to that idea. Like that's how like I am with dating right now. Like I'm just like strict. And I kind of want to talk about, because I know like a lot of people are probably like, Ale, like you've been single for quite some time. Like why? Like what's wrong with her? A lot. But it really dawned on me like why I've been kind of close-minded to dating, and why I always felt like a lot of escape in like dating out of the city. And it's because truthfully, I've never been fully happy living here. And in these last couple of years, I really just felt like I've overgrown being in Montreal and living in Canada. I feel like the potential of growing in terms of business wise. Also just like for me, I just felt like I've outgrown Canada. And so like, I know Peyton had mentioned it in my last episode where he was like, oh, like you're moving to Miami. I just started to apply to get my visa, because I know in the past I was saying I love Dubai and I want to go to Dubai. And I think that was just like the heat off coming back from a trip. And you're just like, I love it here. I could live here. Like what everyone says when they get back from a trip. But like, as like I was really thinking about it and like thinking of guests I want to have on, like I really feel like it's no longer here for me. So I started applying to get my visa to leave. And I think because I'm not at a place where I'm happy where I am living, it's very hard for me to date, because I don't feel like I'm like situated. So I think that's been the hardest part of everything. It's like, oh, okay, I was always like, yeah, I'm just gonna like date out of the city. But it's like even that, because right now I'm just like trying to get to the States. It's a very hard time for me to like actually like commit myself to somebody, because I'm not happy where I am. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'm, debating between Miami and New York. I'm debating between getting my own apartment or just Airbnb for 6 months so that I can move around maybe to New York a little bit. Like, I don't like being tied down right now. And look, that could all change if I meet someone who lives in the city. But like for right now, like the way I see it is like, it's very hard for me to put dating on like it's hard for me to not put dating on a back burner. Even though like I go on dates, I'm like, I don't feel like I'm at a place where I'm like, okay, I'm here and now like what are my options, So and I know that's not always how life works, like you can't choose when you meet someone, but I think like if you're wondering why like I'm like going on dates and like I haven't really like situated and like chose my person, and like I don't know, because I think it's also about timing, like I'm also like at a transition period in my life, and if it's not now I do it, then when? So we could talk about visas, but I don't know if like anyone really cares about that. To be honest with you, anyone could really apply for a visa. Just get a good lawyer, and you have to show like you're getting income, or depending on the kind of visa you're going for, like I'm already getting paid in US. So like there's a few things that work in my advantage to already get it. But like, honestly, guys, don't listen to anyone who tells you you're stuck here forever or there's no other way. There's literally, what I realize is always the people who yap are the people who've never done it, know nothing about it. When you want something, you will get it, and you will stop at nothing, and everything is possible if you want it. Don't listen to people who haven't done it themselves. Look at people who've done it. Do you know how many people I know who've moved to the States? Actually, Veronica just filed her whole application. So I think like we're all kind of in transition periods, and it's going to be like nice for me to know that like I'm going to sit myself somewhere where like I'm getting out of my comfort zone. And so, yeah, so that's kind of going to go hand in hand, I guess, with dating and where the show's going to kind of take in the next 6 months, maybe, because that's what they say it takes to get a visa. But I've heard also a year, but whatever. Like, we started the process. So yeah, so that's the updates on that. Like, I won't have my green card, but hopefully by then I'll marry a man's and get my green card. But that's another thing. I was always like looking and like seeking out guys who lived in the States, because I was like, oh, I want my green card. But also like it comes a point where you're like, hey, I gotta do this for me. Like I can't keep like hoping, oh, I'm gonna meet a guy and I'm gonna take his green card. Like, I have to do the process right now for me and get myself there. And then like once I'm at a place where I'm like comfortable, I have my spot, I'm podcasting from there, I'm like, okay, like I can really just like sit myself down and find my husband. How funny would it be if I leave to go to the States and then the guy I fall in love with lives in Canada and I did all this and now like he's in Canada and we're doing long distance? Could you imagine? What am I manifesting? This is disgusting. No, my man doesn't live here. A lot of people will say, women especially, that it's very important that your man loves you more than you love them. And I kind of wanted to talk about that. I think that's like an interesting thing to kind of, and an interesting take. And I don't know if I disagree with it really. And I know every guy who's like listening to this right now is probably thinking like, what the fuck? Because no guy wants to hear that, right? They want to feel like love is like a mutual thing and the love is really shared. And like, I think it just goes back to like women nature versus like men. And if a girl is like too obsessive with a guy, she's going to come off very needy. And when she comes off very needy for a guy, normally he's going to distance himself. So it makes sense when people say like it's important that the guy likes the girl more. And I think like this stuff really fluctuates. This is more like when you're starting to date. Obviously, when you're together, it fluctuates between who has 60, who has 40. Like I can see how it's like, you know, it's people right now might be listening being like, no, it should be 50-50 or it should be 100 each. Like, but I think it's important, at least at the beginning stage, that a guy doesn't feel, because when a girl is too needy, a guy is gonna just like distance himself from him. And like, these are most of the guys who are gonna say, what are you saying? This is not true. But it's like subconsciously, they're gonna distance themselves from a girl who's needy because she's coming off too strong. But a girl who's kind of like not obsessed with them and the guy feels like he's chasing and like trying to get her, I think is a better dynamic and a very like healthy relationship, because I feel like girls kind of give up so much and like when they choose to like you, like they're gonna be full force in, where I think guys, when they choose you, it's just better because you as a woman feel more safe, you know? I also think like it makes the guy want to act and do things right because he's trying to get the woman, where like if a girl's too needy, she's gonna be too all over him, and then I feel like the power dynamic really changes. So I think it's really important at the beginning stage that a guy really pursues you and is a little bit more obsessed with you. Like, I actually agree with it, but I think a lot of men are not going to like the sound of that, but it makes sense. So another thing that I wanted to talk about with dating, and it's something that I actually witnessed with like one of my friends. And I think it's really important that like women and men, like we realize that men, all they really want is respect, and all women really want is love. Like, really think about that. Like, men want to be respected. And when you disrespect a man, it's not it. It's not it. Like, you always have to respect your man. You always have to respect your man, even in public. Like, I think a lot of times, like, my girlfriend would always do this, where her man's was talking about a story, and all she kept doing is interrupting him and telling him, no, why are you saying that happened? It didn't happen. Or no, like you're lying, or like that's not really what happened. She'll take over the conversation and just really make her mans feel like nothing. Men doesn't, like, the guy's not going to feel respected. And I don't know, like, I think like that's really something to take into consideration, not only in private, but also in public. I think even with my mom and dad, like, sometimes my mom won't agree, but she won't say anything at dinner. Like, she'll really have my dad's back. And I think that's really important, and women should understand that men want to be respected, and they don't want you to like correct them and make them feel like less of a man. And I think it's really important that you learn that like when you do that, it really just changes the power dynamic, and you're not going to get the best version of your mans. I was reading online a few notes about how to make a guy want you. And the first one is to keep mystery. And I just started bursting out laughing because I'm out here Googling this as the girl who has a podcast who leaves no mystery, thinking, oh my God, I'm never going to find a man. No, but honestly though, like going forward, like I know I'm like eventually going to move and stuff, but I do know that when I'm in a relationship this time around, I will keep a lot of things private because it's not good. It really just isn't good. And the amount of things I ruined because of this podcast, you know, I don't want to say I regret it because every regret is a lesson learned, and I'm happy for that. But I don't want to like ruin potential things because I'm out here blabbing, you know? I think like as I'm talking about how we need to respect men, like, yeah, I can't be out here blabbing about certain things, you know? Also, could we talk about travel plans? I feel like this year I'm so not. I have the most outfits, like I'm ready for a trip, and I have nothing pre planned. And I think that's the worst thing ever. I've never been more ready for a trip, outfit wise, and I'm ready to go. And I feel like it's a very weird year. And I just want to let you guys know, like, if you're not going to Italy, you're not going on a trip this year, like, relax. It's not the end of the world. And I have to remind myself that a lot of the times. I feel like I'm like, well, it's summer. Like, I need to be in Italy. I need to be in Europe this year. Like, I put so much stress on myself that I need to be somewhere. And I think what's really hard about that is, like, there's a lot of people also who aren't going. And, like, just think about it as somebody who's Canadian. Like, we get 2 weeks of summer, literally. We are in our 2 weeks. So it's like, even if you're not traveling this year, like, take advantage of the beautiful sun right now. It is hot in our city. And, like, truthfully, it's not the best time to travel when it's actually hot here, which is 2 weeks a year, you know? So a lot of people that are going away and you see them and you're jealous, just think, look, I'm going to have my time. I'm going to go on a trip in the winter. Like, don't put too much pressure on yourself that, like, you need to be in Europe this summer. And I'm actually learning to not have that, like, expectation. And I don't know. It's like my summer didn't happen if I didn't go to Europe and I didn't plan something. Like, we put as women, I don't know if it's social media these days. I don't know if it's just women or also guys, you feel this way, but I don't know. I'm really like, I need to be in Europe this summer. And I'm like really thinking about it. I'm like, Alette, you've been going the last 3 fucking years. If you don't go this year, you'll be okay. You're also going to the Hamptons next week. Like, I'm really trying to learn to be happy with where I am and not trying to, like, be somewhere else. And that, I think, is a struggle a lot of people who are just on social media have, because, like, you see the life that everyone's living. Everyone's in south of France this year. I'm like, I need to be in south of France, you know? And it's like, it's okay if you're not there. And, like, let's just try to, I don't know. I try and do everything, and then it's like I'm running around, and it's like, are you happy when you even get there, or are you thinking about the next trip you're taking? Like, I really this year want to focus on, like, being happy and present in the moment. And there's certain people in my life that always bring me back to reality, and I feel that with, but it's very easy to get kind of swayed into, like, all of that. So if you're watching this and you're not taking a trip this year, you're not gonna die. It's not the end of the world. I think that's all I kind of wanted to talk about today. So with that being said, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. When you guys comment, I fucking love it. I love chatting with you guys. So keep that comment section on YouTube going. You guys know the drill. Every single Monday, I'm back. I'll see you next week. I fucking love you guys.